Quiet as kept, I lay back and watch the world spin. I lay back and watch the world spin. I ain't your average cat, fuck rap. I'm trying to make cream in that stack. Quiet as kept, I lay back and watch the world spin. I lay back and watch the world spin. I ain't your average cat, fuck rap. I'm trying to make cream in that stack.
Competence rules everything around me, not cream. I manifest thoughts, stop tracing the dream. Use the mind workshop like a carpenter's bench. No more law than a Morisco TV attorney wench. Liar, liar, storytellers claiming authority assumed. No dwelling in lower chakras, third eye attuned. Sending mental light beams to orbs. It might seem I'm weird, helping elder strangers with bags downstairs. Correcting street wrongs, clear up karmic debt for all the stores that we robbed and sisters that wept. So nowadays I walk righteous, a teacher that's poor. I might give you a copy of 1984. Mentally and spirit level up, I'm wealthy. So in tune at any time, call Orishas to help me or assist on the Most High side, not devil's list. They say they Moors, but I see them acting devilish.
Quiet as kept, I lay back and watch the world spin. I lay back and watch the world spin. I ain't your average cat. I'm trying to make cream in that stack. Quiet as kept, I lay back and watch the world spin. I lay back and watch the world spin. Or forget the essence from which I emerged. Say that bullshit for the birds.
Allah made us, but you call us something different. Dummies won't STFU and just listen. Sell a package for $5 buy a charter for fame. Call themselves Ali when they used to be L and Bay. Most play when I do not, all I do is study. And when I get so-called money, buy more books to study. Get one more study and complete the ritual. In mob rule time, know thyself is critical. It's more than cards and papers. Be what you know more. Follow the prophet and false constitutional laws. Intelligent tone, you won't hold me back. Standing on squares, branded demons with signs of the zodiac. Get sigil to black, neophytes calling it death. Setting chisels back as false prophets gasp for breath. The meek are about to inherit, known by popes and clerics. From Amazon shamans to the priest Vedic.
But I have to tell you, they are the joke. They're a very sad joke, because by now I'd be embarrassed to keep telling the same stories that they're telling. And actually believe it, you know. My mother used to say, you know, you're telling this story so convincingly, I could almost believe you know what you're talking about. This is how I feel about them. They play a good game.
Islam, peace and love. As you've been seeing, certain people pulling up their own skirt, showing how much of a female dog they are. Female dogs with fezzes that are supposed to be masculine, but they're female dogs. Negroes wearing fezzes and turbans that are making a point to prove to the people that they are the sellouts. You want to talk about somebody enslaved Africans? Somebody enslaved black people? Don't put that on all Moors. Put that on dirty Moors. Dirty Moors are the ones who sold out our people. And those dirty Moors are still around even to today. They're still around. Even to today, dirty Moors are alive and well. Why? Because like I was telling a Moor the other day, when it comes to traders of nations, do your research on what happens to traders of nations. Moorish Americans are a nation, and within the nation of Moorish Americans, there are traders that are walking around like they're not traders. Why? Because you, the people who recognize these clowns, don't call them out on their fuckery. You let them do their BS. This is why I take this position of making sure that when these subverters show themselves, that immediately we point them out so that you know who these sellouts are, so you can stay away from them. But, you know, many are called, chosen are few. We already know the lessons. One thing you have to understand about Canaanland Moors is that there's an unwritten prophecy relative to Moors that does not get talked about. There's an unknown, it's written, but it's unknown, excuse me. There's an unknown prophecy that is written that Moors don't recognize that it's prophecy, manifesting. So you can check this out for yourself. rvbaypublications.com/id136.html. Prophet Noble Drew Ali invited to Canada. During the days Prophet Noble Drew Ali was on the scene, he was invited to Canaanland and was welcomed with open arms, with trust his works would be favorable. The following text published of his invitation. The scans of the original pages are attached below. However, they are not with great reproduction clarity. Thus, we spelled it out below. So pleased were Dr. Oscar and Madame Bruton of Toronto, Canada, with meeting Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they invited him to Toronto to be their house guest for as long as he could afford to remain. Impressed with the wisdom and the possibilities of the Moorish Leaders Program, Dr. Bruton would like to arrange for a series of lectures by Prophet Noble Drew Ali for the benefit of the citizens of Toronto. It is believed the Prophet will act favorably on the distinguished Canadian's invitation. So you just do your own research, see how much you can find out about Oscar Bruton. And he was a member of the Order of the Elks. Right? Fezzes in secret and stuff like that. Order of the Elks. Canaanland Moors is the manifested prophecy of Noble Drew Ali's program being here. Order of the Elks didn't do it because, they assassinated Noble Drew Ali and they aren't Moors, so they can't talk on this. Right? They're part of an Order of the Elks, so they're Negroes. They have nothing, they can't speak on these matters. So we presented ourselves as the manifested prophecy, Noble Drew Ali. And if people claim to follow Noble Drew Ali, and they're going to stand on their word that they follow Noble Drew Ali, then they should have read the Moorish Guide article, which is Noble Drew Ali's paper, right? We're not talking about oral statements created by the Kirkman Bay Moor R. Lovell. We're not talking about the oral statements, right? We're talking about Noble Drew Ali's newspaper that had this prophecy. Noble Drew Ali's paper had this prophecy. For Noble Drew Ali's paper to have this prophecy in it, and in 2017, you have Negroes and Fezzes trying to make it seem like, Canaanland Moors is not legitimate in some way, shape, or form. Are people against your nationality and birthrights? Anybody that claims to be Moorish American but doesn't recognize that a Moorish Science Temple of America, being in this jurisdiction misnomered Canada, Ontario, Toronto, they're not recognizing that that's their prophet's prophecy manifesting for them to give honors to the fact that there's something here in this jurisdiction. Those people are against your nationality and birthrights. Period, point blank. Now the reason that we're making this is, like I said in the beginning, people pulled up their own skirt after making claims and talking BS, right? That, you know, Cujo El this and Moorish Science Temple in Canada and all this BS that they're talking about. They have taken the position, this is factual, documented fact. They have taken the position of working with the other side to keep you from learning about your nationality and birthrights. Islam to brother Ramon L., who went on Negro World TV and schooled Ishmael Bey and to Fudge Packer Bey with regard to what type of mindset you are supposed to have if you claim to be Moorish American. Now, their little dialogue was 3 hours long or so, right? After viewing the 3 hours, it was obvious to me that Negro World TV was not about getting the information out. Because if they were about getting the information out, Negro World TV would have STFU and let Brother Ramon do a class on civics on his channel. Because he didn't do that and he wanted to do his sonnet or BS, because we know that you know, we already told y'all that the Fudge Packer Bey is Son Nigger's female dog boy. We already told y'all that. Now hearing what Canaanland Moors, the manifesting prophecy of Noble Drew Ali is saying. You're not hearing us. You're going to listen to Fudge Packers. You're going to listen to them. But you're not going to hear what it is that the manifesting prophecy is saying. They put up this 3-hour video just like everybody else who puts up something with regard to Moors that, you know, is trying to cause confusion. We take it, splice it up, and do what it is we do with regard to making sure that the information in regard to the Moors is put out on the platform of YouTube, so that only those who are interested in this would be inspired to take this a little bit more seriously because of how. And again, this is not coming from me. This is coming from people who tell me. Just go read all the comments on all the YouTube videos of individuals who are telling us, thank you. Good video. Go check the track record of all our videos. Just go read the comments. See what people are saying. We're not even telling them to come join something. We're just putting out some information to assist these people on the path toward the marvelous light. He took this 3-hour video and, or we took this 3-hour video, spliced it up, and it was uploaded, and in one day had the same amount of views that Negro World TV's 3-hour thing had. In one day had more thumbs up than Negro World TV had on their video. Got a message. Well, before I got a message, I sent an email after I received the email that the video is going to be shut down or whatever. I sent Buddy an email calling him a female dog nigger, and that, you know, he's a sorry excuse for a Moor. Right? And then he came back about, you know, how I'm a great example, and look how I talk like an uncivilized savage. But he has nothing to say about the uncivilized, savage talking of the lawyer that he put on his platform. Just go back and listen to the lawyer BS that they had on their platform, Negro World TV, with the Fudge Packer Bay. He's telling Cujo L that I'm an uncivilized savage. But he has an officer of the court that, remember, him and Ishmael Bey backed the officer of the court being on a Moorish platform to teach Moors law. Officer of the court, not another Moorish American, an officer of the court they brought on their platform. The officer of the court came on the platform talking uncivilized like Cujo talks. And he had nothing to say to the officer of the court, you know, because he's under manners. They can only talk that BS that they talk to Moors, because this is the cowardice of these people, right? So I sent him back a message, and again, I'm just putting this out because I know he's going to take these messages and try to, you know, put it out there, make it sound like, you know, look how he talks. This is a Grand Sheik. He ain't talking like that. This has nothing to do with Grand Sheik and none of that stuff. This has to do with I'm a Moorish American. This has to do with I'm a member of Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm a national of the Moorish nation. And I recognize that there's traitors out here. Forget Grand Sheik, Divine Minister, Grand Governor, and all them titles. Forget that. I'm Moorish American before that. I'm telling you as a Moorish American that these people done sold you out. And they pull up their own skirt. So I went to my other message and told him, you big-eyed MFer, you are a female dog. F-boy, fudge packer, go F yourself, female dog, because you are a female dog-ass nigger. Remember, I'm not talking from some Grand Sheik or whatever. I'm talking as Moorish American. I'm not talking as Moorish leader. Oh, you want to... Oh, I'm a Grand Sheik, so that means that I have to follow Grand Sheik stuff. Oh, no. I'll throw that stuff away tomorrow. Still going to be up here being Moorish Science Temple of America with a charter. And we'll elect somebody else to be Grand Sheik. Playing around like this is some club. This ain't no goddamn club. This is birthrights. So then, as usual, when the cowards get punked off, like the punks that they are, they always resort to violence. So his message back was, I bet you can't fight a lick. Tough foul-mouthed brothers can't scrap. We'll see one day. So if that's a threat, that one day he'll see me and we'll see if I can fight or whatever. I put it on the record right now that I don't fight. Especially now that I know about Noble Drew Ali's prophecies and him telling Moors, if you can't beat them, drop the world on them. My drop the world on you is kick you in your nuts and beat your head in with a stone. My drop the world on you is kick you in your nuts and stab you with this pen that I have in my pocket. So I don't fight, because that's my mentality if I fight. So I refuse to fight. But I'll tell you this, Negro with a fez on, Negro World TV, I'll tell you this. There are Moors who fight. There are Moors who have already came to me and said, you know, if anything goes down, Kudro, just call me, let me know. We'll go check people. So I don't take threats lightly. And like I said, I don't fight. So if you want to get checked, just make a video, let me know, and I'll send whichever one of my substitute fighters. You want to set up the ring and all that stuff, set it up. I have a fill-in. I have a pinch hitter that would be willing to fight you if you want to fight. If you really want to take it there, I have pinch hitters that are willing to go there. Because I don't fight. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, you know. So his position is, well, I gave you permission to put up the 3-hour video. I don't want to put up your BS. I'm not interested in putting up your BS. I'm just letting you know. I have no interest whatsoever in promoting anybody other than active Moors. Zero. Right? So because we spliced up his stuff, he took the position of go to YouTube and complain. Now, when we go back and we check the record, we go back, Sa Netter did the same thing when we took his video and spliced it up and punked him off. The exact same thing, the exact same way that Sa Negro complained is the same way that Negro World complained. Remember, he's the one that went on Sa Netter's channel to promote everybody. Come on, make sure you listen to Sa Netter. Because how does it work in the YouTube world? It works by you line yourself up with somebody with lots of views. This is how it's done. You get with somebody, you go on someone's platform who has lots of views, so those people's quote-unquote subscribers will come subscribe to yours. So you can have whatever it is that you know, right? Now everybody knows people who are on black whatever, they don't come on more stuff. They are interested. They're black. They're going to stay black. They're not coming over. They're staying right where they are. that's where they're going to stay. So for him to take the position of go over there, but then say, oh, he's not trying to be like that individual, he has nothing to do with folly. He went and complained the same way that the guy who he said he's not connected to complained. The exact same way. Now, yeah, we could say it's a generic response from YouTube, but the generic response from them is relative to what the individual complained about. And keep in mind that YouTube was not founded or started by Asiatics. Which brings us right back again, Islam, to Brother Sheldon L., who put it on the record of Noble Drew Ali's oral statements. Again, this is the Kirkman Bay Moors that put this out, R. Love L. It's not Noble Drew Ali's literature. This is Dirty Moors literature. But remember, these people were adepts. Blakely Bay, Kirkman Bay, all these people were people who were in the know. So because they were in the know, they would have been privy to things that Noble Drew Ali said. And again, it goes back to that thing of trying to, just like they side with whoever to get views, the Dirty Moors put Noble Drew Ali on the front of their book, right? Under the guise that, you know, they know what Noble Drew Ali said. So we put the oral statements together so you can trust that we're with Noble Drew Ali. But they weren't with Noble Drew Ali. These were the people who sold Noble Drew Ali out that put this book out, this pamphlet out, this booklet out. These are the people who sold Noble Drew Ali out. MSTA 13. Just go check their site. The official website of the Moorish Science Temple. If they're official, they wouldn't have to say they're official. Just like the people who say new and improved. Well, if it's new and improved, you wouldn't have to say that. The fact that you're saying it's new and improved, my antennas should be, my spidey senses should be going off. The fact that they're saying they're the official, your spidey senses should be going off. That, hold on a second, something's wrong here. Why are they having to put on the record that they are official? Sheldon L. put it out there that in the oral statements, Noble Drew Ali, you know, remember this is supposed to be the oral statements of the Prophet. Moors supposed to listen to what the Prophet said. Noble Drew Ali told the Moors in number 202, Brother J. Blakely Bay, past Supreme Grand Moderator. Past Supreme Grand Moderator. You know, Supreme Grand Moderator was bought by Kirkman Bay, which are the Dirty Moors, Marked Fez's Moors, who are the ones that were against Noble Drew Ali after 1929. They might have been with him before 1929. After 1929, they were against Noble Drew Ali. Brother J. Blakely Bay, past SGANM, said that the Holy Prophet said, don't put the European on your brother. That's an oral statement that Noble Drew Ali said. Don't put the European on your brother. So for a Moor to, instead of, you know, because he could email me back and forth about, you know, I told you gave permission for the video, and but he couldn't email to say, you know, I have an issue with, you know, that video, could you take it down, or, you know, whatever. You're not going to do that. They never do that. What do they always do? They run to the European and go tell. Tattletales. They go tell. Instead of emailing the brother, because he has my email, right? Like he's emailing back and forth. Because I call him a female dog-ass nigger. He could email me back and forth. But he can't email to say, hey, you know, you punked me off. Good one, you know what I mean? Good one. You punked me off in the video, but could you please take it down? We would take it down. Out of the fact that, you know what I mean, you know, you're admitting that, you know, and then we use that email as evidence to show that you're a clown. But, you know, he knows that that's what we'll do. Right? But these people's ego is too big. Right? They think they're somebody because they're with Azim Hopkins Bey's temple. And he got a proclamation from the city of Philadelphia, so he's the official Moors and all that. No official Moors, they're sellouts. Why would a corporate state recognize Moors? A Moorish science temple. And then when you check the record of the proclamations from all these corporate states, they never mention Moorish Science Temple of America. They mention Moorish Nation. They mention Moorish Americans. Not one proclamation talks about Moorish Science Temple of America. Why is that? Why aren't the proclamations talking about Moorish Science Temple of America if that's the all and be all? These are corporate states that give Moorish Science Temple of America awards and stuff like that for being Moorish Science Temple of America. But the proclamation that goes out from the mayor's seat doesn't mention Moorish Science Temple of America. You realize that this is about birthrights, not some club, which is a sellout mentality. Moorish Science Temple of America that's a sellout mentality. That's why we say Great Seal Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam to Grand Sheikh Nature El Bey, and the Moors at Asbury Park Temple. We say Moorish Divine and National Movement. We say Moorish Holy Temple of Science of the world, Islam to Brother Ali Mel Bey and all the Washita Moors. Because this is about birthrights. This is not about joining some club that sold out Noble Drew Ali. Because Noble Drew Ali told you that the Moorish Science Temple of America came about in 1920 late. Not 1920 early, 1920 late. How's that the all and be all if it's the latest thing that was created by Noble Drew Ali? Only a fool would think that. But, you know, a majority of people, just like Brother Ramon L. was telling people on the Negro channel, that this is about studying. And then the sellout is telling the people, this is why we didn't upload his parts, because his parts are BS. The sellout's telling you that Brother Ramon is taking study out of context. How could anybody take that out of context? How could you take go study out of context? Unless you're incompetent. Unless you are under dirty Moors who teach you don't study. Only listen to what we say. Right? That cult leader mentality. Like Nature Girl. The cult leader mentality that, you know, you have to listen to the guy at the podium. You can't listen to anything else. If you're not listening to the guy at the podium, you know, you're not paying attention. No, I choose to go study. I choose to go study. So to take Noble Drew Ali's literature. Now, Noble Drew Ali said, we honor all divine prophets. Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. Noble Drew Ali said, again in the oral statements, that, you know, when I was Muhammad, whatever. So if Jesus is mentioned as one of the prophets and Noble Drew Ali put out a book with the teachings of Jesus in it, it would mean that he is vibrating on the frequency of that same message that Jesus brought. The same message that Buddha brought. The same message that Muhammad and Confucius brought, and any other prophets. But this is why we always use as a reference point active, civic-minded Moors. One of the most honored active, civic-minded Moors that, Moors like Ramon L. and others study from, not follow, study from, is Taj Tariq Bey. Why? Because he has a track record that when he was out teaching, there was no one teaching that he's saying wrong stuff. Nobody had anything to say. How come they got something to say now, but they didn't have something to say in the 80s, in the 90s? How come only recently? I'll tell you why recently. We'll go to Taj Tariq Bey's book once again. Addressing Misunderstandings of the Moorish Movement. And you could get this at rvbaypublications.com. Page 16. Jealousy and Subversion. Noble Drew Ali, through his well-thought-out Moorish movement, had already achieved great economic and political success for the people and on behalf of the people. He had also demonstrated and set patterns for communications with other American national states in the Western Hemisphere who displayed serious interest in helping to improve the political, economic conditions of the Moors in the North Continent. So you're going to go to YouTube and look at the class with Taj Tariq Bey, Ras Mariah Bey, and Alim Bey. Right? Oh, and don't forget, always remember that Noble Drew Ali's ultimate purpose was bringing the people into the marvelous light, light being knowledge. The whole purpose was to get us out of darkness or out of Negro mentalities, which these people who are going against what Noble Drew Ali said, going to the European and telling and all that stuff, they're definitely, not with waking up their people. They're about keeping you in the club mind mentality so that you have to follow some grand whoever. Right? Consequently, Noble Drew Ali became well respected, admired, and larger than life to many people at home and abroad. Right? Go back to Oscar Bruton and the fact that he wanted Noble Drew Ali to come to Toronto to teach, to do lectures, to bring people the marvelous light, because the citizens of Toronto were dumb niggers at that time and needed a prophet. Right? Just go do your research, 1920s Toronto. And keep in mind again that Madame Bruton, Leona Bruton, Oscar Bruton's wife, she was a well-known hairstylist out here. Well-known, super well-known. She was on the level of Madam C.J. Walker out here, the Leona Bruton. She was on the level of Madam C.J. Walker out here. And she was a community activist. Right? The Moorish movement was targeted for dissolution or disruption by many of the jealous, opposing, and deviant Europeans monopolizing the United States government by infiltrators, and also by peripheral and complaining church leaders and preachers. The movement was also unfairly slandered and set up upon by others holding positions of power in the country. In a short period of time, Moorish temples of science were springing up in almost every state in the nation, gaining influence and power among people of all walks of life. Calvin Coolidge, a European, was President of the United States at that period of time, serving a term from 1923 to 1929. Then Herbert Hoover, a European, succeeded Calvin Coolidge and served from 1929 to 1933. The records also show that people, mainly Moors, learning that they were not Negro, black, or colored folks and living in the depressed communities, were leaving the churches in large numbers. The inspired state of mind of the common people began to change positively toward realizing thoughts of self-authority and of birthrights. Self-confidence was not the norm in the low-class communities and was not intended to be by the edicts of the selfish rulers. Many of the newly awakened Moors began displaying a diligent and studious capacity to absorb knowledge and become strongly directed toward the truths and the benefits of learning about national consciousness. This mental revolution took on a life of its own. Rome was not going to sit by and allow their colonial powers to be questioned or exposed for the thieves and extortioners that they are and have always been. Overseers and other profiteering agents of blind faith and pilferage also, again, overseers and other profiteering agents of blind faith and pilferage were definitely placed in jeopardy. Color of law and servitude controls were coming into question by the common people due to the Moorish movement's growing influence. Honorable sheiks and sheikesses. Many oral statements and words coming down from loyal, honorable, and dedicated sheiks and sheikesses and members of the temples were written down to preserve a positive consciousness for the Moors. These acts preserved many correctly established directives for the natural people. Such distinguished acts of loyalty were carried out in spite of the ghoulish odds mounted against them, against the members, and against the Prophet. These artificial and untoward pressures are part of the reasons as to why some of the elders of the temples are hesitant and defensive-minded. Thusly, they are sometimes mistrusting of newcomers due to the betrayals and the mistrust. Some of them also want to be respected for what knowledge they have to offer with their contributions to the movement. That well-grounded sense of security concerns is certainly valid in some cases, and not so in others. However, considering these variables in Moorish affairs, much can also be revealed about the educational diversity among the Moors as indicated by these in-house social and political dynamics. Keep in mind that many of the older Moors during the early part of the century, 1900s, were not privy to a decent education and were thereby limited in their capacity to grasp some of the international perspective presented to them by the Prophet. Others were poor readers or could not read at all. This was the result of Inquisition policies of forced literacy among heavily abused and conquered people. The patient and studious among us Moors can use the knowledge to the positive and with patience temper our communications with our elders and other temple members accordingly. Still there is much to learn from them. Their honor, their loyalty, and their integrity has shown through the years of abuse, duress, threats, and coercion, and will be remembered by generations to come. So again, where were these people in the 1980s? Nowhere to be found. They were in the temple, Moorish Science Temple, being good niggers, keeping the people dumbed down in this club state mentality. Where were they in the 90s? Nowhere to be found. They were in the Moorish Science Temple, running their little church group called Moorish Science Temple, keeping the people dumbed down, not knowing about their nationality and birthrights, just listening to this old guy at the podium talk BS about what this is really about. No different than we see today that, you have quote-unquote church people that's going to try to convince you that you don't got Jesus and all that type of stuff. And then you question them on some stuff in their own stuff, and then they want to get mad and take their pamphlet back from you and stuff like that and tell you that you're the devil and all that because you tell them Jesus is the Son. Where were they in 2000s? Coming out little by little, sending their little agents out. Because they realized at that time, 2000s, with, the arrival of the internet and things like that, that there's other people out here still talking about this thing called Noble Drew Ali and Moorish Science Temple and Moorish Divine Movement and all that. We thought we buried it. We thought it was limited to us in our little corner. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. People, again, prophecy of Noble Drew Ali, are coming into this with their eyes wide open. Right? Not like Negro World TV eyes wide open. Not that kind of eyes wide open. Right? Don't let them fool you and say, Noble Drew Ali's got eyes wide open, and then they use him as a reference point for what eyes wide open means. No, it means that your mind's open. Right? It means that you have sight beyond sight. Lionel, Chitara, Panthro. Means that your mind's open. And then from 2000 on, because when we came into the movement, some of the biggest attacks were on Grand Sheik Nature El Bey in Asbury Park because he was silencing these colonial powers exercising rights. When they were doing classes out of their home, when Zulu Nation, Africa Bambara Bay used to go to those classes, when Islam to Shika Sneaker Bay, that the kitchen was right there. She'd be cooking right there, bringing out plates for Moors in class. Remember, keep in mind, Moorish Science Temple, what is it that they do there? And then this is what people are doing in their house, but they're calling it Moorish Science Temple. She's in the back in the kitchen, cooking while class is going on, and bringing out plates. Just go ask Bam. He knows. Go ask all those Zulu Nation Kemetic Moors. Before all the BS that you talk about today, they were going through so much BS with this European trying to steal all their stuff, go ask them how they got out of all that BS that they were. Civics, learning who they are. They are no Zulus. They're not no Africans. They're Moors. Kemetic Moors. Zulu Kemetic Moors. And they do the history of the Zulu, and then you know what kind of frequency it already is. Right? Alim El Bey. Islam to Mother Khadira El Bey. Another one that was getting attacked. Which is why he was used for the first debate stuff. Right? Because remember, the stuff going on with, you know, with Sabir, Islam to Sabir Bey, and Moorish Brooklyn Intelligence, and SETI. Like that wasn't a debate. But that was the initial creating what we see today as the debate, whatever, back and forth, prove that you're Moors. Because remember, the debates weren't happening before Moors started being present. They weren't debating when House of Consciousness was on VHS. When they were going to LIU and they were doing all these classes in all these places, bringing Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine and all that stuff, and when you know, Brother Man and all those people, right? Conscious Kent and all those people. They weren't debating nothing. They were putting out info. There was nothing to debate. It was about information. It was about bringing people into the marvelous light. But what happened? Attention started being put on this paradigm called the Moorish paradigm, Islam to Brother Hakeem Bey. Because they might not have hated him, but trust me, they weren't happy with the Moorish paradigm as far as Moors are concerned. Because he's presenting information that these grand sheiks and whoever were supposed to be putting out since 1929 that they weren't talking about. So we already know that there's a track record of when the Moorish ideal started coming into the minds of the people again. And once that started happening, that got these people at attention. That, hold on a second, we have to do something about this. Europeans and Moors that were siding with the Europeans to keep the people on this dumbed down mindset. That this is about some type of clubism. When this has always been about birthrights. It has never been about joining up to something. Knowing about the good and about the bad conditions that occurred in the movement and of some of the trying political events during the middle and the late 1920s should remind us all that the European Inquisition policies have always lurked in the background of U.S. demo politics. The intellectual vanguard of the movement, in harmony with the thinkers and doers, have proved invaluable to the cause. Those who have love and respect for their people and for justice have and must produce literature for promoting useful development of the nation and work for the rightful defense of the Moorish divine and national movement. Not the rightful defense of Moorish Science Temple. You know what Ali told you. Defend the Prophet and your Moorish movement. Defend your Prophet and your Moorish movement. Again, go back to the proclamations. How come they don't mention Moorish Science Temple? And again, we're coming from the seat of Moorish Science Temple to show you These people are practicing folly with your birthrights. These people are using Moorish Science Temple of America as misrepresented and not in exact exercising of what it is. Their purpose is to keep people away from this by trying to make it seem like there's factions in this and people who are, no, there's a Moorish nation and the factions are the traitors. The people who aren't down with Moorish nation are the traitors. The people who are down with this is a club, come and join, are the traitors. The people who tell you that you're taking study out of context by going and studying other sources other than what Noble Drew Ali brought are the traitors. And they're around and they're alive and well. Why? Again, because you, the people, choose to give these clowns passes instead of calling them out. All you people who got played by some Moor and you never called them out, that's on you. Because you should be calling their dirty asses out for the dirt that they do. You should be calling them out. They charge you for a charter. They charge you for some papers. They charge you for some class. And then you never learned anything. Those people should be getting called out. So know for a fact, know without a shadow of a doubt, that one of the most vile, places for you to go learn is Negro World TV and anybody affiliated. Why? Because as soon as you prove yourself, they're going to say that you're a Taj Tariqet. As soon as you start talking about civics, they're going to say you're a R.V. Baymore. As soon as you start talking about being active and exercising your rights, they're going to say that you're against the Prophet. Prophet didn't bring that. All those people that talk like that are traitors. And you can side with traitors if you want to. The choice is yours. You can side with traitors if you want to. But I suggest that you highly consider what was presented and take into serious consideration that there are individuals out here whose duty it is to keep you away from this information and or to get you to join their stuff, again, to keep you away from this information, that this is about your birthrights. This is about you taking the necessary steps to bring yourself from a dead level mentally to a living level mentally. That's what this is about. If you have no intentions of being out of mental slavery, this is not for you. If you think that the Moors BS and all that stuff, this is not for you. Just don't even thumbs down. Just GTFOH. You don't have to thumbs down. Just get the hell out of here. This is for those who want to know. If you don't want to know, get out of here. Islam to all the active Moors that study. Islam to all the active Moors that support what we're doing up here in Canaan land. And we thank you for all your support, right? Moors who put their finance in, who send their donations, who send their dues, in order for what Nobujuali established to be out here to remain. If you're interested in supporting, you can send your donations to PayPal to culturaleducators@gmail.com. culturaleducators@gmail.com. There's very few places that you can go to get the right perspectives. Canaanland Moors YouTube is one of those places. Right? Asir the Duke of Tears, Dr. Alim El Bey, Hakeem Bey, rvbaypublications.com, Grand Sheikh Nature El Bey, Moorish Guideposts. If you really want to know about your nationality and birthrights for real, study from these sources. There are good temples out there that these sources will send you to the temples that are worth taking your time to go check out or visit or whatever. Because majority of these people called Moorish Science Temple of America they don't want nothing to do with rights and civics and law and all that. They want to be in religious dogma and keep people under their thumb, under their heel. Keep their minds locked in on nothingness, instead of having the people's minds open to the truth and the divine truth about their nationality and birthrights. Actual, factual. So again, we know that this is not for everybody. But those who this is for, keep studying, studying, studying Islam to you.
Yeah. You know how we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can't relate. We just kill them with love instead of hate. That's what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the Grand Sheikh, Cujo L, Iron Sheikh.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green flares, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and the muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave named Chris might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Great COS adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my sheep, got a problem with me. I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheik. 7's up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mounting up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Tashtarik Bey taught the world don't respect y'all. However, since you wanna be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director, should make sense of course. Music is the food, and the message the medicine. Mumble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans like Mobb Deep, condolences QB, RIP Prodigy, who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you Sarahite, trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in his video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabir Bey knows Moorish Master MC. Fruquan Bey and Daddy IU are on some Moorish degrees. Spraga and Bujuno, they even kill Peter cause of Macintosh. Still visit Digable planets, hip-hop astronauts. Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers. To higher than other senses, to still pick up the frequency. Pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known. To go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus your soul. Large professor built pyramids, I watch Drink Champ steady. Cause Nori said Drew Ali on a track, so call me petty. Also Martin Moore exec produced the War Report album. Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them. Operation Lockdown, video feathers like I said the Duke. Initiate invasions, activate outdoors every spook. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and move these for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? The slave named Chris might have a Moor head. We are Moors. We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors.